More than 1.3 million calves were transported between EU member states in 2015 alone. The destination of these calves are assembly centers and fattening farms in countries such as the Netherlands, Italy, and Spain. Most of the calves come from Ireland, France, Germany, Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. The Animal Welfare Foundation and Tierschutzbund Zurich have documented the transport of calves in these countries over the span of 2 years. Lithuania, January 2016. Calves on a typical dairy farm. They stay here for 1 more day and then they will be collected. The dairy farmer doesn't need them. Their existence is owed to the dairy industry. They are of different ages, of different health states, and also kept in different ways. Some are in isolation boxes, and others are tethered. Some are separated because they are too weak. All the calves are picked up and loaded onto a truck. It is bitterly cold, and the roads are icy and smooth as glass. Other trucks are lying in the ditch. Despite the dangerous road conditions, the live animals continue to be transported, and we follow the calf truck. Near Berlin, the truck stops briefly. The drivers need a break. In fact, the calves also need a break. They should be fed. At least it is not so cold out anymore. We check on the drinking system, but it is unsuitable for calves of this age. Unweaned calves need to drink milk that is warmed up. On the truck, there is only cold water. The problem of thirst and lack of appropriate nutrition for the calves are the main problems. Not only on this truck from Lithuania, also on others. Here, there are thirsty calves coming from Germany. Another transport route, from Poland to Italy. Here too there is no possibility to feed the calves during transport, and this is aggravated by high loading densities and lack of headroom. For the calves, these transport conditions are an additional stress. Depending on the outside temperature and loading density, condensed water appears on the inner walls of the truck, like with this Polish truck. In desperation, the thirsty animals are licking the walls. What they would need is milk from their mother, or at least milk replacer. But what they get are filthy water drops. The calves get weaker the longer the journey takes, like on this Polish truck transporting calves from Poland to Spain. After more than 20 hours of non-stop transport, the calves are unloaded for the first time at the control post in Sopluba near the German-French border. But after only 10 hours, they are already reloaded. According to EU legislation, calves are supposed to be rested and fed for at least 24 hours on control posts. During the loading, we see men drag 2 weak calves back into the truck. Our team follows the calf truck. Every time the drivers stop to switch drivers, we manage to look into the trailer. At the first stop, we hear the all too familiar moaning sound of a dying calf. At the second stop, the calf is dead. It is 2 o'clock in the morning, and the calves have now been on the road for more than 2 days. We observe the unloading from a hiding place. The second calf is also dead. After the unloading, the drivers carry him back onto the truck. This calf has arrived on another Polish truck. He would need a veterinarian, but remains lying unattended on the raceway. The dead calves are collected in a carcass box. We leave Southern Europe and go to the northwest to Ireland. Today alone, 12 livestock trucks with unweaned calves on board are parked in the port of Rosslare. In the past few days, we have visited several collecting stations in the west and in the north of Ireland. There, farmers delivered their animals individually or in small groups. For the calves, this is very stressful. With hundreds of other animals they are not familiar with, they are mixed together on the trucks. The journey on the ferry alone, which is sometimes in rough sea conditions, takes 19 hours to the port of Cherbourg in France. Upon arrival in France, the transport continues non-stop, either to a control post or directly to Spain. Our team follows a calf truck in the direction of the Netherlands. During a short stop, we are able to check on the calves. The animals are clearly overcrowded. A fragile calf is found lying down and too weak to get back up again without any help. The risk of him being trampled to death is high. We inform the highway police so that the livestock truck can be stopped and inspected. Now, already 2 calves are lying down. The drinking system is cut off. A clear proof that not even a supply of water is foreseen. The police order the drivers to unload the calves at the next available control post. But before the truck even arrives at the stable, both calves are dead. We are back in France. Not far off from the route from Ireland, there is a calf market called Château Gontier. Here as well, calves are delivered individually and in groups. It is loud. The floor is very slippery and the handling rough. The calves are abused with sticks, pulled by their ears and hoisted by their tails. They are penned and then regrouped and penned again, often in very overcrowded conditions. The calves are commodities. The fact that they are sentient creatures plays no role. Many are standing tightly packed together or lie trampled below on the bare concrete floor. There is no bedding. They are thirsty and in search of milk, an enormous stress for animals of such a young and fragile age. Without any milk or opportunity to rest, the unweaned calves are loaded onto trucks destined for long journeys. For example, to Spain to be fattened. Our team follows a truck transporting calves on a journey of 1,300 kilometers to a Spanish factory farm. During transport, we frequently check on the calves. They are calling out. They feel fear, anxiety, and thirst. They are suckling on their mates in the hope of finding something to drink. They are licking the bars in search of milk. Some no longer have the strength and remain lying on the floor. One dies during the journey. Simply calculated collateral damage. After 26 hours, the truck reaches the fattening farm in the Spanish town of Linyola. There, the calves are supplied with nourishment for the first time. It is not milk, but electrolyte solution. Workers have to help the calves understand how to use the drinkers. Calf after calf is led to the buckets with rubber nipples. With the fingers, the suckling reflex is triggered and the rubber nipple inserted. But how should such young calves be able to feed on their own on board a transport truck? Also from Bad Waldsee in Germany, calves are transported to Spain for fattening on a weekly basis. Under normal traffic conditions, the journey takes 23 hours. The animals are not supplied during the entire time with anything to drink. This means that here, every week, livestock consignments are approved, despite them being in violation of the EU animal transport regulation. Also here, very young animals are loaded. We follow the transport to Spain to the assembly center in Vic, near Barcelona. It's July 2015, and the temperatures rise well above the 35 degrees Celsius mark. When driving by, we see calves licking the bars of the trailer. At the assembly center in Vic, the exhausted and weak calves are unloaded. However, they cannot recuperate here. After just a few hours, the journey will continue. They are transported for another 3.5 hours in smaller trucks to the individual fattening farms, and there they will remain for up to 10 months before their final transport journey to the slaughterhouse. Lambs too are transported across Europe. Before Easter, the numbers increase. Like calves, lambs are often too young to be fit for transport. They cannot be appropriately fed on board a truck. They are also transported on long journeys, often in overcrowded and dirty trucks, over thousands of kilometers. And they too suffer from hunger and thirst. The transports of lambs carried out in compliance with the law are very rare. After 2 years of inspecting calf trucks along these European routes and checking on assembly centers and control posts, where calves are collected or unloaded, there is enough proof that young animals which are still dependent on the milk from their mother, like suckling calves and suckling lambs, cannot be fed during transport as laid down in the animal transport regulation. Along the way, unweaned calves get weaker, sicker, and those too far gone even die during transport. Many more will die shortly after arrival at the farm. Even if handling of the animals at the assembly centers and control posts was more gentle, and even if the trucks were not crowded, with enough headroom and space to lie down, the long-distance transport of calves and lambs could still not be carried out in an animal-friendly way. During long-distance transport of unweaned animals, the EU Animal Transport Regulation is systematically being violated, because the ability to provide young animals with appropriate feed is neither technically nor practically possible on board a livestock truck.